Ladies, what's the creepiest thing a guy has done that was meant to be romantic? As a 16-year-old, I worked at a coffee shop in a rough part of town. One day, a young Asian-looking guy came in and ordered coffee. I noticed he was holding jazz CDs in his hand, and mentioned that 2 of my brothers played jazz. That's it. Just one comment to pass the time from when the coffee left the pot until it landed in his cup. It turns out, that was a big mistake. He sat in a corner for my entire 8-hour shift. He didn't say anything more, just watched me. And thereafter, for 2 straight months, every time I worked, he would come in, order his coffee, shakily try to touch my hand while I handed him his change, and watch me for the duration of my shift. Then I left for 5 days to go on a road trip. When I got back, my manager handed me a stack of letters. He loved me, we were perfect together, we were going to make babies together, he was going to take his life if I didn't go out with him. Complete with cartoon drawings of us. Keep in mind that at this point, I had never made conversation with him other than the initial jazz comment. They were very explicit, disturbing letters and I kind of freaked out, ripped them up and threw them in the garbage. That day, he came in and didn't say anything except for ordering his coffee. Then he went to the bathroom for a long time, came out and left. Soon after a customer told me the bathroom needed cleaning so I went to check. Blood and bodily fluid everywhere. He drew hearts on the walls with. At this point, I'm freaking out. My boss didn't take this seriously because he was an old Vietnamese guy with very different values. Later convicted for running a firearm and substance smuggling ring out of the back office. I didn't go to my parents because they were very conservative Christians and would have blamed me for somehow seducing him in my charming puke-colored, buttoned up to the top of my neck uniform. I resolved to just quit the job. The next day, I went in a bit early. There was a group of guys who were doing road maintenance that came in together every day. They were all Guatemalan, loud, and very sweet. I hung out a bit and told them it would be my last day. Then the crazy guy walked in. I have never been so instinctively frightened in my life. I whimpered and jumped behind the largest Guatemalan, and couldn't stop shaking. The crazy Asian guy just stood in the middle of the cafe and stared and stared and stared. The Guatemalans could obviously tell something was wrong, and one of them walked me back behind the counter. I told him everything that has happened. He told me to go to the back of the bakery and not come out until he said it was okay. So I did. When I came out, the crazy guy was gone, and the Guatemalans were all drinking coffee. They said they had talked to him and he wouldn't bother me again. I gave them all free donuts and thanks, and was just so relieved the horror story was over that I didn't think much about it. Then after my shift, I went out the back way to put the garbage in the dumpster. There was a pool of dried blood on the ground. I never asked, and the Guatemalans never told me, but the crazy guy never bothered me again.